Okay, revisiting the old hood. This is coming up to the corner of Kenneth and Sandringham Road, and that's that used to be Mr. Lawson the Grocer's in 1961-62. That's what we had. That used to be a little wee grocer's door with a bell on it. Ding! Hello, Mr. Kellett, how are you? Well, he didn't talk like that, but he's hello, Mr. Kellett. He was a Kiwi, and. Yes, so and looking across the road, there it is on the corner. So that was a really well-known, familiar sight to us boys. And now we're about to go around the corner into Paice Avenue, and we live down on the left there. We're going to get down there. We came here 1961-ish. Back with our father after we'd been all spending a year with aunties and uncles, billeted out. So we came back to live with our father, and this is the house down on the left that he somehow managed to get, and after a lot of research I've discovered it was a man called John Ernest Lynn. A big story there, a huge story actually, and it had a big impact on us later on. So here we come down on the left. Not sure where we are. We're just a bit further up Paice Avenue still. This is the footpath I would have walked many, many times as a boy, 10, 11 years old. And up on the left, we're going to come across number 83 Paice Avenue. 83 Paice Avenue was the house we lived in, and man, the memories there. It's insane. And actually, the neighbour right next door, I'm just going to give you a quick view of over the road, just to look at these classic houses. And but back again to very soon. Yeah, I think is it that one. The Schwanner family lived there. He was a great man, and just next door in there. So now this is 83 coming up. Here we go. This is the house. That window there was my grandfather's bedroom. Under the house there, lots of adventures. It wasn't flats then, of course. They've divided it up somehow. I'd love to see how that's done. There's my bedroom there on the right, that little annex thing there. And all these volcanic rocks from Mount Eden strewn about. I think my grandfather had a garden. I used to weed that many times. I was weeding that garden, and there we are. It looks reasonably sort of pleasant, doesn't it? It's all been done nicely, but it would have been, we weren't great for the upkeep of things. We just lived there. And like a good example is this house next door. When you see the state that it's in, that's looking a bit ragged. Yeah, a bit rough. Bit of a clean up would do it. I remember the people that lived there, and I think Mrs. Litherland, maybe she lived there, or one of these houses, an old woman, but she had two wonderful daughters. I always remember it was great when they came. So, we liked Mrs. Litherland. Mrs. Litherland. And so further on down Paice Avenue now, not a lot to say between here and the end, the halfway down Paice Avenue, which is sort of our half that we lived in. It's funny, that little hill became the demarcation point, really. We didn't often go over the other side. Oh, there's a classic old letterbox. Look at that. Love it. Yeah, I remember a couple of people that lived down here. Boy McLean, I think it was, lived here somewhere. And there was a chap who lived down here that used to work at the Auckland Star. When I was just starting in printing, I'd come to see him and get him, and he would make me printing blocks from the Auckland Star, I think it was, and that was great. So yeah, just looking at all the different houses. Some of them are, it's a great little street, and all sorts of interesting things. We had two friends, us kids, in the street. One was Wattie Josephs, and he lived just up here shortly. Not sure which one it was. No, I don't think it was that one. I'm just showing the house, I think. That's what that is. In another nice house. These are all the... Oh, maybe it was that one. Yeah, that'll be Wattie's house, I seem to think. Or was it the one next door? No, because it wasn't on the corner. pretty sure that's where Wattie lived. And then, so that's where Wattie was, and there's the hill I just mentioned. So that was kind of like the end of our patch, if you like. We didn't really go over that hill much. If we went to the pictures or anywhere in Dominion Road, we actually turned left at that hill, at that little point there, and went up the other street. I've forgotten what it's called. So back down this side, we had another friend a bit further down called Herbert Barrett, who was the Barrett family. And they were either Fijian or Samoan, I can't remember. But they were, they were early sort of island people that lived in Auckland. There was a few families back then, nothing like it is now, nothing like it. It was rare, really. So they were an island family, great family, lovely people. Herbert was about my age and a bit of a goer. I think later on in life he got caught up in all sorts of shady things, possibly. I don't want to incriminate him because I don't really know, but I suspect so, and I've never heard of him or seen him since. I don't know where he went. So this will be the Barrett house, is it? Yes, because I remember that ramp. So that's where the Barretts lived, right there. Yes, a great island family. They were helpful when I was trying to learn the guitar. I mean, they couldn't really play either, but it's a natural thing to them. They were they were encouraging. So while I'm coming back down this side, I'm now looking back across at the other side of Paice Ave, back to where my house was. So you just sort of see it from the other side of the street. And there are some nice houses actually. There are, one or two are quite good. Yes, really just showing you those. And there we are, I think. Yep, coming up on 83 on the other side. There it is there. The infamous number 83. 10, 11, 12 years old I lived there. I don't remember it being quite clad in trees and stuff then. I seem to remember you could see the house because my grandfather used to keep an eye out from his bedroom window, and he wanted none of my friends could come. It was like no, we can't have those kids from up the street. So we used to sneak them in by that car right on the edge and try, because he was in that window there, and we were trying to get slightly out of view so that we could bypass grandfather Fred. And we managed it a few times, because once we got them in, he was arthritic and didn't sort of get up much. So once we got them into the section, then we could just muck around up the back. He would never know. And we did that. So further on down, I remember there was a girl called Barbara that lived in the next street, but she must have had a relation in this street, and she was often used to plant herself on the veranda. And I used to think it was like taunting me. I was only 11 or something, but I'd look across and see Barbara on the veranda. Now up here is a terrible story of massacre on this house coming up. This was a chap called Lyle who worked for the Auckland buses, that's right. And that's still there, that house. I got some budgies off him, 6 budgies, but I forgot to feed them, and they all died. Starved to death in their cages. It was a terrible episode. I would never do that again. And, the responsibility hadn't quite hit me. But I've got it now. So here we are back on Sandringham Road, looking up just to have a bit of the view. And we're only a hop, skip and a jump too from Eden Park. So we would hear the famous football games with Don Clark, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the grease paint. And back over into Kenneth Ave now. We're coming down to look at this house that Matt, Bob and I used to stay in after school. There was an older couple, Mr. and Mrs. Turner, and she used to, mainly she did, used to sort of put us up for the afternoon until Dad got home from work. It was all organised by the grocer. He knew that we had no mum, so they all came to the party and everything worked out well. And that was number 5. and it's coming up soon. In one of these houses next door, an early girlfriend of mine, Janice Oswald, her name was, lived in this house. So here we are, here's number 5. I'm going to leave you with this one little parting thing. I had a quick word with the owner here today in number 5. That was great.